Ford Lincoln Mercury. Best Ford Lincoln Mercury. I-94 in Pipestone, Benton Harbor. Working hard to make you a customer for life.
I'm at the Notre Dame Joyce Center, location for the biggest Michiana home show ever. 30,000 square feet bigger. 150,000 total square feet. 250 dealers, the most ever. How-to seminars, everything for outdoor living and the home, including the home. 3 pre-manufactured homes to tour. Great food, places to rest, free parking. Save on admission with discount coupons from Martin's. Don't miss it. The Michiana Home and Outdoor Living Show, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Presented by Standard Federal Bank.
R.A. Mort's Bath Gallery invites you to think about luxurious Kohler whirlpool baths, beautifully sculptured sinks, bright fixtures, and shiny new faucets. Before you remodel, come to the Bath Gallery and see an array of Kohler products on display. The bold look of Kohler offers shape, color, quality, and well-thought-out design in products such as the Portrait Light Toilet. And R.A. Mort provides expert advice. We'll fit your style and budget. So come see the possibilities from Kohler at R.A. Mort's Bath Gallery in the Trend Center on M139, Benton Harbor.
Financial news to start your business day. Weekdays, 6 Eastern on CNN.
Karen McGinnis, CNN weather. It is March Madness, at least across the eastern third of the United States. A deep area of low pressure is tracking to the northeast. Plenty of cold air sweeping in behind it. Snowfall all the way down into Birmingham, Huntsville, Alabama, and into Atlanta, where some thunder snow was reported just within the last 45 minutes or so. We've seen in Indianapolis 11 inches of snowfall, southeastern sections of Michigan, 300 schools closed there. So quite a weather day across the eastern United States. Look at these readings for Florida coming up for Thursday, only in the 60s. I guess you thought that springtime was here, but it does feel like winter. Things are going to change across the west. Look at these nice temperatures. Denver, you're looking at 59 degrees, but by this weekend, I think some big changes are going to be taking place in this portion of the country. Vancouver's got some showers. It'll be about 57 degrees coming up for Seattle. New York City, you might find yourself in an early morning mixture of rain and snow in the forecast. Chicago only looking at 35. Atlanta's a better day. No snow. It'll be 46. Larry King Live is next.
Sweet dreams from DoubleTree.
I don't know how he's pulling this off. Our businesses are grossing about the same, and we're both looking at the same margins. So just when I think we're on an even playing field, he turns around and raises enough capital to develop an entirely new home design. Who's he working with? What's he have that we don't have?
PaineWebber. Invest with more intelligence. United Artists Pictures announces a special preview of a very special movie.
I know why you come up here. You need to know your history, son.
This Saturday, you're invited to laugh.
I want you to meet my nephew. He's Ray's brother.
You, Ray's brother?
To cry.
You held this boy right after he was born. Ain't that something?
And come together.
I ain't gonna bite you.
I ain't gonna bite you either.
For a family thing. Rated PG-13. Check listings for sneak preview this Saturday.
Unlike those big juice companies, we have a different idea about stock growth, market indicators, even futures. Florida's natural premium brand, not from concentrate juice, is made by a co-op of growers whose only business is making juices. They own the land, the trees, the company. So although our idea of stock analysis may be a little different, it's a difference you can taste. Florida's natural premium brand juice.
Every time you make a long-distance call, AT&T sends out a signal to check the quality of the line, automatically routing around trouble before you've even finished dialing. Because at AT&T, we don't just say your calls get through. We guarantee it.
Linda, I'd like to bounce an idea off you.
AT&T, for the life of your business.
When I was a kid, I had to take penicillin for 9 years. Probably it saved my life. I'm a pharmaceutical company researcher. We're developing these compounds for treating gram-positive infections that are multi-drug resistant. My hopes really are that someday some kid will have the drugs available to them to save their life.
Oh, honey, boy. I told you you'd love it.
You were right, sweetie. I wanted the motel. I feel like an outdoorsman. Good night, honey.
Oh, my God.
Did you hear that?
What do you see? What do you see?
Oh, boy.
Honey?
Where's the Ericsson cellular phone?
Oh, shoot, I left it outside.
What do you mean you left it outside? I gotta go out there and get it.
Ericsson cellular phone. Because when life gets a little wild, you want a highly reliable Ericsson cellular phone.
Hi, yeah, we're in a tent. There's some trees and there's a huge bear out there.
When you get that pressed into you, in that moment I felt I was nobody anymore. Because he said to us afterwards, when you asked your name, this is your number.
Survivors of the Holocaust, Monday at 8:05 Eastern on TBS.
Thursday on CNN's Burden of Proof, the Menendez brothers guilty of first-degree murder.
Why didn't the jury believe the abuse excuse? That issue, 12:30 Eastern on CNN.
What was that?
All systems are down.
Houston, we have a problem.
I'm showing a main bus undervolt. Houston. Hi, guys. Okay, you lost main power. I put in a backup system. You really shouldn't be up here without one, and I'd suggest you upgrade your insulation when you get home.
Get solutions to business problems before they become problems. AEP, America's energy partner.
The British ruled the seas. Their navy was known throughout the world for their standards of excellence in ships and sailors. Even their ropes were uniquely superior. Woven through the ropes was a red thread used to distinguish and protect them. This thread became the mark of excellence in ropes worldwide. Like the red thread, the Trust 100 seal has become the mark of the finest funeral homes wherever they are found.
The Trust 100 seal of excellence can be found throughout Berrien County at Floren Funeral Service.
Inside Politics, 4 and 8:30 Eastern on CNN.
It became news, and you wrote about it. So before we go to some calls, the Marcia Clark thing.
The Marcia Clark
You
thing.
take us close to it in the book. You hint at it.
Why?
Why not just tell us?
Well, I think I tell you a great deal. I think I tell the reader a great deal about my relationship with Marcia Clark.
You got very close?
We were very, very close. I mean, we were going through hell together. Not only, not just in the courtroom, but in our personal lives as well. And the experience that we had as civil servants, caught up in this media circus,
could produce intimacy.
I suppose that there's some psychologist somewhere in some university on the other side of the country who might suggest that that's possible.
Well, did it happen? I mean, were you, the two of you would travel together, you were close, the pictures were taken of you in San Francisco. You even write that San Francisco is the kind of city where you could, a black man and a white woman could walk down the street and people don't gape at them. I mean, every hint took us that it brought intimacy, and the whole public was thinking about it, so it's a fair question, and you wrote about it.
I don't think it's a fair question at all. I think that, you know, the question of whether Marcia Clark and I were intimate or not is a very, very small issue in comparison to all the other issues that we discuss in this book. If everyone else in the room was prepared to tell us who they're intimate with, then maybe I'll think about.
So in other words, if they all announce who they were intimate with, you will tell us.
Well, I might consider it, but I think that's highly inappropriate. I have nothing but respect for Marcia Clark, and what more can I say?
Before we take calls, the aforementioned Mr. Dershowitz said, and I know you don't like to comment on what he said, but he said...
Because it never makes any sense.
Well,
it's always way out in left field.
Right. He said a jury... You can think someone did it, but that's no reason to vote him guilty. They have to prove it. So you can go back into a jury room and say, I think he did it, but they didn't prove it. And that's, so he's written this book to say to people, hey, understand this, the law counts first.
That's ridiculous. If you think someone did it,
You should vote guilty.
I think so. I mean, isn't that the whole objective of the whole trial, to prove to you, to convince you that the guy did it, and you're sitting there, you've heard the evidence, and you say, I think he did it.
All right, now, so when jurors said, and some jurors said that, I think he might have done it, but they didn't prove it. They couldn't prove it to the conclusion of a reasonable doubt. I had some doubt.
Well, some doubt does not give rise to a reasonable doubt. We're talking about a reasonable doubt here. And if those jurors felt that he did it back in October and still feel that he did it, let me tell you something, let me tell them something. It's been proven to you beyond a reasonable doubt. You should have voted guilty if that's your mindset, and if that was your mindset back then.
Do you have any doubt? Any doubt at all?
That he did it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. No doubt whatsoever.
In fact, you even do a scenario as to how he did it, what happened at the scene, even things that might have been said. Fascinating bit of writing. What led you to do that?
I have met many, many murderers in my time as a prosecutor in the last 15 years. And I examined the evidence. I looked at the evidence. I looked at O.J. Simpson. I read Nicole's notes in her diary. I learned a lot about his personality. It's easy. These two murders were so simple. There's nothing complicated about the manner in which these two people were killed. Nothing complicated at all. I can see it.
Why, in your opinion, Chris, did this hero, athletic hero, nice guy to many people, generous to many people, affable, walked into a room and the room was friendly, why did he do this?
He did this for the same reason that men have been killing women since the beginning of time. She disrespected him. She didn't want him anymore. She wanted to be independent. She was leaving him. She was leaving him. She wanted to be free. She wanted to be free of his abusive and controlling behavior. And he couldn't handle that. He could not handle hearing Nicole say no.
And young Goldman was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
The wrong place at the wrong time, and he did something I think a lot of men wouldn't do today, and that is he intervened, he got involved, and he tried to help.
Could have ran.
He could have ran. O.J. might have caught him, but he could have run.
Let's take some calls for Chris Darden. Louisville, Mississippi. Hello.
Yes, I want to tell Mr. Darden how much I admire him, so very much. I admire him. I watched every hour. I'm a disabled 61-year-old lady, and I watched every hour, and there was no doubt in my mind. And I'm not a prejudiced lady. I raised 5 boys that played football with all the blacks and love them. But this man was guilty in my mind. Now, I'm watching it, and I admire you, man. I just love you to pieces.
Well, thank you very much. I'm honored that you feel that way. You know, Larry, I got lots and lots of phone calls and faxes and letters from people throughout the country supporting me during the trial and after the trial, and it helped a lot.
Did many in the black community ostracize you? Were you looked at as an Uncle Tom?
That was the way I saw things. I felt ostracized. I felt unwanted. I felt as if I had no place to go. I felt homeless.
Really? Weren't you saluted once in a black church? Didn't they have a big day in your honor or something?
I have gone to church and I have been recognized by the minister and by the congregation. And I don't want to suggest that every black person in Los Angeles County despised me or treated me poorly, because that's not true. That's not true at all. There were a number of African Americans who offered me their hand.
Didn't you get an award in which Cochran participated?
That's correct. In December, County Supervisor Yvonne Braithwaite Burke, along with the Langston Bar Association, sponsored a tribute in my honor, and Cochran was there and spoke.
You've known each other a long time.
We have known each other a long time.
Has the bitterness been resolved?
I haven't spoke to him since that night, and prior to that, well, between the verdict and that particular night, I've spoken to him a couple of minutes on the telephone. I don't know. I don't know that Johnny has read In Contempt yet, so I don't know. Perhaps our relationship will be forever severed as a result of this book. Who knows?
Might be. Do you respect him as a lawyer?
I think he's a good lawyer. I think there are better lawyers, but he is a good lawyer.
Any comment on the Menendez verdict?
The judge has issued a gag order on all L.A. County deputy DAs with regard to the Menendez case, and I'm still a deputy DA, so I'm not at liberty to say.
That's because they have to argue Monday the sentence, right?
I imagine, yeah.
So you are still, are you going back to prosecute?
I'm going to take off the rest of 1996 and perhaps all of 1997, and I'm going to think about it. I'm going to think about my next move.
Because then you can comment on Menendez. They'll hold you in contempt. We'll be right back with Chris Darden. Don't go away.
Every time you make a long-distance call, AT&T sends out a signal to check the quality of the line, automatically routing around trouble before you've even finished dialing. Because at AT&T, we don't just say your calls get through. We guarantee it.
Linda, I'd like to bounce an idea off you.
AT&T, for the life of your business.
I remember it like it was yesterday. I was hosting my first big business dinner, and I paid with my Visa card. Turns out I was over my limit. I was so embarrassed, I didn't know what to do. So I got the American Express card, and it never happened again.
Call 1-800-THE-CARD. We can take your application right over the phone.
Applying for the card was one of the easiest things I've ever done, and smartest. And anyone who's ever gone anywhere knows it. I have a place to cash checks, get my mail, and get help when I need it.
My dad said the minute you get a job, get an American Express card. He said, trust me on this one. I've gone everywhere with it. And here's a tip. Sign up for membership rewards, and everything you charge on the card will earn you program points, so you can keep on traveling.
So call now for the American Express card. You can apply right over the phone.
Really worth it.
It helped not having a preset limit.
I got cash on the go.
I can call 24 hours a day. That helps.
Go anywhere, and it's with you all the way.
Don't delay. Just dial 1-800-THE-CARD.
Unlike those big juice companies, we have a different idea about stock growth, market indicators, even futures. Florida's natural premium brand, not from concentrate juice, is made by a co-op of growers whose only business is making juices. They own the land, the trees, the company. So although our idea of stock analysis may be a little different, it's a difference you can taste. Florida's natural premium brand juice.
We're back with Christopher Darden. We will tell you that Alan Dershowitz called in, asked to speak to Chris Darden, and Chris being the guest, we don't set people up, so I asked him if he wished to take the call. He said not, but we're happy to tell you that. Why not?
Well, you know, I've never called Alan Dershowitz, and you know why? Because I don't want to talk to Alan Dershowitz. I have nothing to say to Alan Dershowitz. I haven't forgotten what he said about the LAPD. I haven't forgotten about the things he has said about Marcia Clark and my colleagues in the LADA's office. And as far as I'm concerned, Dershowitz, don't waste your dime. Don't call me. You can be sure that I won't call you.
You, though, prosecuted LA police officers, didn't you?
I sure did.
You were tough. In fact, police officers complained about you.
That's true.
So why was Dershowitz's complaint about them angry to you?
Well, what? This blanket accusation that all LAPD officers lie, that they're all taught to lie, that they're all trained to lie? That's ridiculous. That's outrageous. That is outrageous.
What, Chris, one of the keys to this, what puts, tell us your evidence that puts it no doubt to you, beyond a reasonable doubt, that he did it. What's the key to Chris Darden?
I think, you want one piece of evidence? It's hard to...
What's give me a few.
Okay, wait,
there's no doubt.
Okay, there's a knit cap at Ron Goldman's feet. It has O.J. Simpson's hair in it. There's a glove. It's O.J. Simpson's glove. Nicole Brown purchased that glove for O.J. Simpson. It's his size. His hair is in that glove. There's a similar glove just like that one at O.J. Simpson's house. There are 3 types of blood on that glove, O.J.'s, and 2 other types. Those other 2 people are dead. Okay? There are carpet fibers on that glove, on those gloves, rare carpet fibers. There are only approximately 300 Broncos in the entire United States of America having that same carpet fiber. O.J. Simpson's Bronco has that carpet fiber. There's size 12, bloody shoe prints leaving the murder scene. The killer, he didn't run away. He just walked away. It's O.J. Simpson. There was a blood trail from Ron Goldman to Nicole Brown, past the front door of that condo at Bundy, down the walkway into O.J. Simpson's Bronco, to his house, up the driveway, into his bathroom, on his socks. Has anyone come up with another suspect? I'll tell you something. No one will ever come up with another suspect.
This then to you is open and shut.
Open and shut. Absolutely open and shut. The LAPD shouldn't spend another dime or waste of thought. And look
Yet
at
they have
someone
to,
else.
right? If someone brings them something, they have to investigate, don't they? I mean,
Well,
technically, not technically, this is an open crime.
I don't know that it is an open crime. I don't know what the LAPD's official position is on this, but if they want my advice, you know, don't waste the manpower or the man hours.
Well, what about those who say, Chris, hey, we got a system in this country. We all live by the system. He was found not guilty. Leave him alone. Forget about it. Don't write books. Don't talk about it. Go quietly into this good night. Nothing's going to change.
So, but you can produce videotapes, right? I don't know that we should forget about it. You know, when child molesters are convicted and move into certain areas, into certain residential neighborhoods, everybody wants to know. You know, that child molester put in his time. He paid his dues, right? But no, sometimes some issues, some people are too important. Some events are just too important to turn your back on. I mean, in this particular case, the law spoke, and not very loudly, and not very clearly, and the law failed. But the fact that he was found not guilty in a court of law, that doesn't mean he didn't do it. Not guilty doesn't mean he didn't do it.
Would you have represented him if you were a defense attorney?
I don't think so. Not knowing what I know, no.
We'll be right back with Chris Darden and more phone calls after this.
I will take out the trash, I will cut the grass, I will sleep under a bridge, I will do whatever I have to do to make sure we pass on a better, stronger country to our children.
Fall in for Sergeant Bilko.
Are these yours?
It is my understanding that you can no longer ask me these questions, sir. Steve Martin is me back. Sergeant Bilko, rated PG. Starts Friday, March 29th.
Concerned about the quality of your drinking water? Get a pure water filter. For healthier, better tasting water, make sure it's pure. Just a typical morning at a Wyndham hotel. Ever notice how some people actually like business travel? Well, maybe it's because they're doing it the right way. Wyndham Hotels and Resorts. The right way. The Wyndham way.
Thursday night on Larry King Live, he's America's #1 anchorman. But little is known about Peter Jennings, the man. We'll get the scoop from Jennings himself in an exclusive live interview Thursday night, 9 Eastern on CNN.
Saturday night on Larry King Weekend, Oliver Stone. Monday night, Cato Kalin. Our guest is Chris Darden. What do you make of Cato Kalin?
You know, Cato Kalin wasn't forthright and honest on the witness stand. And I don't like Cato Kalin.
Don't like him?
I don't like him. He was holding back, and he knew it, and we knew it, and that's unfortunate. That's very unfortunate.
Waterloo, Iowa, for Chris Darden. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Chris, I'd like to tell you did a superb job on the trial, but my question is this. What do you think about the situation that F. Lee Bailey is in right now?
Well, you know, I'm a very big F. Lee Bailey fan, and he's a big fan of mine.
You were president of the Lee Bailey fan club, were you not?
That's right.
Well, how do you feel about this, though? There are some, I met a lawyer in town the other day who said, I don't like Lee Bailey, but this is wrong.
Well, you know, I haven't studied it as carefully as some people have, I'm sure. But, you know, you defend drug dealers and you take drug dealers' money, and that's drug money. And, hey, whatever happens next, you know, that's a risk you take.
Were you embarrassed at all that they shackled him, hand and feet?
He was going into custody, Yeah. Every day in this country, African-American men are shackled and handcuffed and taken into custody, and he shouldn't have been treated any different.
Because even though he's F. Lee Bailey and he's not going to flee, that's the rule. The rule applies to everyone.
The rule ought to apply to everyone. All the rules ought to apply to everyone, or they shouldn't apply to anyone.
Hate is a tough word, but someone reading this book could well say that Chris Darden hates O.J. Simpson.
Really?
In fact, you even use a name for him in the book.
Well, we all have nicknames.
Yeah. Do you? What are your feelings about him? He's so intertwined with your life. When you die at age 163, one hopes, O.J. Simpson's name's going to be in the first paragraph of the obit, right?
Oh, no, it won't.
You know, it won't?
No, it won't. You're
not going to be intertwined forever?
To some small extent, I think. I'm not finished yet. My life isn't over yet. There's still many, many other things left to be accomplished.
Right. That aside, then, how do you feel about it?
I don't believe that he should be free in society. I believe he should be in Pelican Bay. I believe he committed these crimes based on the evidence that I've seen, and I believe he should have to pay for that. I sense that he is... the phone calls he makes and the public comments he makes seem unusual to me.
Does it surprise you?
No, it didn't surprise me because Faye Resnick said he would do things like this. There was a time when he'd make similar phone calls, but not to radio stations, but to Faye Resnick. This is consistent with his behavior. It's consistent with who he is.
When you're prosecuting, and you mentioned earlier you feel for the family, isn't that hard? Because some people, it's difficult to represent the state, isn't it? The state is an institution.
That's true, but the state has a face. And the face is usually the face of the victim in the autopsy photo, and the faces of the victim's family present in court.
Do you ever get used to that, autopsy photos?
You do get used to them, but every once in a while, you know, that first look at a particular set, sometimes it sort of makes you, it rocks you a little bit. The wounds suffered by Nicole Brown were, I'd never seen neck injuries like that before.
Never seen?
I'd never seen one like that before.
Because the scenes when people looked at them in the courtroom, it looked awful tough to take.
Yeah, oh gosh. And the man that injured her that way, that did that to her, was full of rage, full of hate, and wanted her to know that it was him. This is a very, very personal and up-front kind of a murder.
Pelican Bay is a prison?
Yeah.
We'll be back with our remaining moments with Chris Darden. The book is In Contempt. Don't go away.
When you call collect, you're asking a favor. You're spending their dough. Hey, it's your family, your friends. So do them a favor and make sure they pay less. How? Know the code. 1-800-CALL-ATT. You'll always get AT&T, and it always costs less than 1-800-COLLECT. Dial it every time you make a collect call. After all, it's how you'd want them to call you.
Want a price that's always lower than 1-800-COLLECT? Know the code. Dial 1-800-CALL-ATT. That's your true choice. AT&T.
Just a typical morning at a Wyndham hotel. Ever notice how some people actually like business travel? Well, maybe it's because they're doing it the right way. Wyndham Hotels and Resorts. The right way. The Wyndham way.
Thursday on CNN's Burden of Proof. After 2 trials, Lyle and Eric Menendez have been found guilty of first-degree murder.
Why didn't the jury believe the stories of abuse and incest by their parents? We'll review the case Thursday, 12:30 Eastern on CNN.
We're back with Chris Darden. The book is In Contempt. During the break, I said, what would happen if you were sitting in a restaurant and O.J. walked in, and you said you would leave?
That's true.
You also said you want to elaborate a little more on feelings.
You know, I think O.J. Simpson owes my community, which just happens to be his community, whether he likes it or not. I think he owes them a great debt. He owes all of us a great debt. What that jury, a debt. What that jury did for him that day, I think, is unprecedented. And I'm just wondering when he's going to start repaying that debt.
Meaning what? He should be in the black community?
He should be in the black community. He should be in the black churches on his knees praying every Sunday. He should be contributing some of those millions that he has left, and we all know he has money left, to charities and causes in my community. He probably ought to sell that estate up in Brentwood and move down to Ladera Heights. He owes them a great debt. He owes me a debt.
Debt to you?
A debt to me, because I'm also black and I'm also part of that community. Now, he has been set free in the face of overwhelming evidence because of race to a very great extent. And he has a debt to pay. So, O.J., when are you going to start paying back the community?
You think you should open up community centers, finance centers for young boys in the black neighborhoods?
If he has the money to do so and the wherewithal, yeah. I think so.
Chris, you complained during the trial about someone, asked questions about writing a book. Did you ever question yourself about writing a book for money?
I did. You know, my colleagues, my minions, my law clerks would suggest that on occasion. And there were occasions when people would send me letters about things like that and we just toss them in the trash. I didn't think it was appropriate to write a book. But as the trial wound down, I began to think otherwise, because this is history, and I began to realize that it was history, and I wanted to be depicted in history by my own terms. I mean, other people will say things about me, the Dershowitzes, and that's not the only information I want to be left for historians to consider.
Running out of time, the hour went awful fast. What do you want to do in your life?
What I want to do?
You're teaching now.
I'm teaching now. I want to get more involved in domestic violence. I want to get closer to God. I want to find a woman and marry her, and I want to have a good life. I want to get closer to my daughter and be more of a presence in her life.
More children?
I would love to have more children. I'm determined to have more children at any cost, as a matter of fact.
Meaning you'd adopt?
I would adopt. I would even adopt.
Nothing wrong with that. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Chris Darden, co-prosecutor in the Simpson murder trial, the author of In Contempt. Peter Jennings tomorrow night. On Friday night, Ross Perot. Saturday night, Oliver Stone. This is Larry King in Los Angeles. Thanks for joining us, and good night.